welcome back. If you're new to the channel, welcome for the first time, and I hope that you watch through and enjoy what we have to share today. In my last video, which was also my first, the last thing that came up in the cards was a question of world order. In other words, the threat to democracy that we can all see whichever way we look at the minute, the quite frightening rise of the right and nationalism across all sorts of parts, particularly in Europe and America, but also where are we as humans ascend to a higher frequency? Can our ascension and our change in frequency alter this course in time? So I'm going to ask the cards today to give us some idea of this. It's a very, very broad subject to look at, and we might drill down on it, but let's just see what they say and if they give us any advice. So we'll get an oracle card or two first, just to give us a bit of direction, and then we'll go into the tarot and have a closer look. So could you give us, please, just some guidance as how we as humans, ascending human beings, can reimagine our own future? A future that is based on equality and freedom. So, two cards please, and just give us some guidance. First card up is called Action. We'll take one more. Okay, that one wants to come, so we'll have that one. Action and transformation. I'll show them to you. You get an idea what they're like. Here is the card for action. Stormy weather. And here is the card for transformation. So the chrysalis to the butterfly. So let's take from that as conscious human beings who aspire to a free and equal life, we need to take action against the old orders, and we need to change them. So on to tarot cards, and let's see what they suggest we do about it. Now that's a big ask, so keep your fingers crossed that we get the right answer here, or an answer. I have shuffled these, but I like to give them a bit more of a shuffle while I'm asking. So please, if we could have some more detail as to action and transformation. How do we, as conscious human beings, affect world order? And can we affect it enough? I'll draw three cards to start and we'll see what they say. Okay, so we get the Four of Cups, we get the High Priestess, and we get the Magician. Now, if you know tarot, you'll know what I'm about to say. And if you don't know tarot, there are two parts to the tarot. There's the Minor Arcana, which basically is what gave us a set of playing cards. And there is the Major Arcana, which are the big headlines that are a separate 21 card set. They get shuffled together and we find a reading accordingly, and this one in just three cards has two cards from the Major Arcana. So it's big stuff, in other words. Four of Cups suggests to me that inaction is, I guess, not inaction perhaps is the word, but apathy. So not voting, for example, is apathy. Not caring, not believing that you can change anything. These are things we have to change, and that is right underneath action. So the call to action would be not to accept second best, third best, fourth best, or worse. Then we get the High Priestess, and this is a card of secret agendas. So two ways to look at that. We can have our own secret agendas that fight the right, or we can not trust the right and look to see if we can expose their secret agendas. This happens a lot these days with whistleblowers, and there's a great deal going on that's exposing corruption. The card after that is the Magician, and this card has us linking the heaven and the earth. So as the astrologers say, as it is above, so it is below. We need to connect more, we need to trust more, and we need to be smarter in how we respond. So what I'd like to say there is that for those of us who work in Ascension, it's quite easy to get woolly and soft about it, but we are being told here to be a little more hard line, not to be quite so, oh well, it'll sort itself out because I'm ascending and I'm super. It's not the case. You are ascending, you are super, but you need to fight for what you want. So we'll go a bit further with that and see if it tells us anything else. Okay. Okay. Very strong suggestion here about using feminine energy. Now, when I say feminine energy when I'm reading, that can quite simply mean we need more women in power, which is an obvious. It can also mean that all of us have masculine and feminine energy, and we need to tap into our divine masculine or our divine feminine. This is suggesting that to climb out of the apathy, we need to get our divine feminine acting more strongly. After that, we get the Page of Coins, so we need to fund the fight, as it were. It's about finding a way to make our new lives affordable and possible, aside from the oppression that we look at. And how do we fund the oppression? How do we fund fighting the oppression? And then under the Magician, so the man connecting us, heaven and earth, we have the Seven of Wands, which is quite a battle. It's a lot of things to fight, a lot of strings to the bow that we need to be in charge of or in control of. So that's a big ask, and it's a warning that however we approach this, there's a lot of work ahead. Take 3 more and see where we are. Right. Got one backwards, but I don't read reverse cards. Some people do. So the end of this reading, or the last line of this reading so far, is curious because it is emotional. And if we're talking about ascension and talking about being better, more useful members of society, that's an emotional response more than it's anything. So here we have a suggestion with the Two of Cups that we need to unite more, and we need to hope more, and we need to build more collective hope, because ascension is a collective thing. I can ascend, you can ascend, but if we all acknowledge that we're ascending together, we've got a chance. So let's pool our energies. Under the Page of Coins that we had in the last line, we have the 10 of Coins, and this is abundance, and this is having achieved something, built something. So we need to use our collective abilities, and that's not just our collective possessions and monies, it's our collective talents to bring up the vibration and bring about the change. And again, we have divine feminine energy. The first time it was active energy, this time it's emotional energy. So we really are being asked to tap into our more nurturing, kinder sides. So it's I would say, a huge ask. I believe it will happen. I don't know that it will happen as quickly as we might like it to happen, and I think we will see a lot more suffering in the world before we achieve what we want. But let's just switch packs. I was reading, by the way, with the Fountain deck. I'm now going to read with the Tarot of St. Petersburg, which is a little appropriate given what's going on the border with Russia and Ukraine at the moment. So let's just see if they can confirm or deny or suggest anything else to us. So 3 last cards for this reading, and let's see what they have to say. Yep, there we go. Okay. It's young energy that we're dealing with, although many of us ascending are very old energies. If you understand what I mean, it's the work is beginning. So the pushback is beginning. And it's beginning with a lot of clear thought and clear energy, but it needs directing. So right after that, we have the Knight of Cups, and that can sometimes mean, there's the old saying, fools rush in where angels fear to tread. And it's fine to rush in sometimes, but we need to think about what we're doing, think about how we respond and what we want, and we need to not give in to knee-jerk reaction. And the last card is the Magician. We had the Magician already from the Fountain deck, so there's the Magician in the Fountain deck. And here is the Magician in the St. Petersburg. So the Magician in the Fountain deck is a great deal more esoteric, perhaps, in terms of its art. The Magician in the St. Petersburg deck is much more practical. This is about alchemy. And again, it's the same. It's connecting heaven and earth and finding how that connection roots us and gives us strength to move forward. It also means using a bit of trickery sometimes. Now, I don't mean this in this context in a bad way, but I think it means we need to use our wiles and we need to second guess, outguess, and really beat them at their own game. So that is quite a lot really to consider, isn't it? I wonder what you think. Do you have any ideas about how we might defeat the rise of the right? You know, America beat Trump by a very, very small margin, but is that a stable situation? What is going to happen in Russia? What is happening across Asia at the moment? Lots to think about, lots to consider, and as you consider it, think how you can make a difference by your thought process. Because every thought you put out there changes the atmosphere, changes the energy, changes the vibration. So good thoughts, please. Right, I'm going to leave that reading there and ask you to comment, ask you to like this, ask you to subscribe, ask you to share it. I'll be back within a week and we'll look at something else, but if there's something you'd like me to look at in the meantime, you should feel absolutely free to say so in the comments and I'll have a go for you and see if we can find anything out that will answer your questions. So thank you for now, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.